What is going on, everybody? Despise here. Welcome back to another movie review. You know, it's funny how online influencers work. First, you find an argument. Second, you find a side to pick. Third, you become incredibly loud and riled up. Fourth, you let the numbers go up. And then finally, you influence. There are absolutely honest people out there who are influencers. People who would rather turn down money and fame and sponsorships than giving themselves up. Keeping true to who they are. But as with everything else online, the more tame you are, the slower the burn you'll have in influencing anything and gaining an audience. When the hope of influencing culture becomes more than a dream, it isn't hard to sway people's minds if you know the right words to say. A perfect example of this is a perception of He-Man, or Masters of the Universe. I'm not going to get too much into the plot, but I do want to talk about the overall idea of the film and how it was royally screwed up by the people behind it. So, spoilers ahead. Let me be clear. This movie absolutely tackles hot button problems. Masculinity, villainy, the role of a warrior without a cause to fight for, the true villain of life itself, the HR department. But where most movies would rather pick a side on any or all these problems to force a clear, direct message down your throat, like a dentist turning the laughing gas up so high you talk to Woodrow Wilson about the League of Nations creation, Masters of the Universe takes a different approach, one that we could all use a little bit more of in our own lives. Nuance. This film doesn't have a bias one way or the other on any real-world problem. It actually doesn't even give an opinion on any. Instead, what it does is it offers solutions to them. Take the warrior without a cause trope, for example. This is something you can find in any form of media where you have someone beyond capable of fighting or surviving, yet for whatever reason, doesn't have the ability to exercise these skills. Look at you, Thor from Endgame! Wasted potential. Yet here, Adam wasn't just capable of fighting. Adam, or He-Man, he was the fighter, eventually. The guy who everyone puts up on a pedestal when push comes to shove. Yet because he grew up on Earth without any parental figures to guide him in navigating conflict, he found avoiding conflict altogether was more important. His character arc wasn't merely get strong and win, but rather mentally overcome the fear of conflict to achieve protection for his friends and family. An external conflict resolved by an internal one, which thusly solves the original external conflict. The film before its release had an interview, specifically Travis Knight with The Empire. I understand. All movies have plenty of interviews. Actors, writers, directors, cinematographers, you name it. And that's absolutely part of marketing. It's what you say in these interviews that means quite a bit. To quote Travis Knight in this interview, Skeletor was a really interesting villain. He looked cool. He was scary. He was funny. He was insecure, and of course, he had this distinctive voice. I wanted someone to craft their own version of that. Jared Leto approached us, because he loves Skeletor, and has his own history with the character. He wanted to swing for the fences, and ultimately, he landed on something that I'm really happy with. Skeletor's kind of the embodiment of toxic masculinity. If you saw my Backrooms review, you'll know that I hate it when a creator tells the audience how to interpret their work. Once you create something, it's no longer your place to tell us how to interpret it. You did your job. Create. Let us do our job. Judge. But you especially don't do this 4 months before your movie is out. Especially about a political topic, which, yes, I'm sorry, but a discussion of toxic masculinity is just as political as it is cultural. I hate politics, so why am I even talking about this? Regular viewers of the channel know that I refuse to talk about real-world politics if I can avoid it. So why? Because he's wrong! Do you remember the days of old when knights were bold and villains were evil because evil is cool and fun? Cobra from G.I. Joe, Palpatine from Star Wars, Jason. This was the norm for a lot of big media villains. Good versus evil is as ingrained in America's entertainment system as debt is to a 19-year-old college kid discovering YouTubes for the first time. Skeletor is the same thing! He isn't some massive representation of why or why not to be masculine. He's evil! Why? Because he's evil! That's it! There's no Thanosing here, no no Davy Jones, no! Skeletor's more like Palpatine. He's the British military from 1775, pure incarnate in villainy and destruction for villainy and destruction's sake. I'm sorry, it's America's 250th birthday. Give me a little bit of slack here. The comment from Travis Knight wasn't just stupid or harmful to his own film. He was wrong about his own film! But I can already hear the thought of some viewers' minds, right? If Skeletor is evil and represents toxic masculinity, according to the director, What if that was the point? Well, surely then that means He-Man is supposed to be some sort of representation of a beta male who's supposed to show that masculinity is bad overall, and he hates being buff, right? Let's say, just for argument's sake, that the secret message in this entire film is that masculinity overall is bad. That it's wrong to have muscles and be strong and want to provide for a man, right? Is that the underlying message? If that's what the writing team wanted, they didn't just fail, they failed. Multiple times in the movie, we were reminded that Duncan, an ex-general of the King's armed forces, fell from grace when Eternia was overrun, and he became an alcoholic because of the feeling of failure. The driving force for him to recover from alcoholism wasn't his pride or his ego. It was to be better for his adoptive daughter, Tila. His masculinity, his ability in physical combat, and mental fortitude to recover wasn't driven by some sort of self-altruistic idea. It was driven by the knowledge that he is her provider. As her father, he needed to be stronger, and he got stronger for her. Not just with muscles, but with his heart and his mind, something sobriety brought to him. That's being truly masculine and truly a man. Being able to improve yourself not because you want to be better, but because you want to be better for others. That's what was said in this movie. And if they were trying to give that as some sort of negative, they need to be fired then. Because that's a great message. And they did a great job saying it. But if they didn't mean to say it, why are they hired? He-Man is no different. He has a deep bond with Duncan, as his problem is actually the opposite. It's not a physical issue, it's a mental one. His mental stability during his life on Earth brought him to a point where he couldn't even raise a fist to somebody on Eternia after he returned. But with the help of Duncan, those two bouncing off of each other and supporting each other, he realized that his duty was to his friends and his family, and that's more important than his self-preservation of ideology and comfort and safety. He allows his strength to shine through by the end of the movie because he accepted his ability to be powerful, not because he wanted to be the man, but because he wanted to protect and serve his loved ones. By accepting his role of the protector, of somebody, a part of a community who has the ability to enhance their surroundings and enhance his world, he also enhances his role as a friend. One of the most important videos I ever watched in relation to this topic was by Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime since the 1984 series. In this video, he explained the story of how he came up with the voice, where his brother Larry Cullen talked about how to sound strong. He landed the audition to voice this robot truck, and how the robot truck was supposed to be a hero. Larry, his brother, said to him, "Be strong enough to be gentle." That one line sums up this entire film and its relationship with masculinity, and it kept replaying in my mind during the last, especially half of this movie. Be strong enough to protect, be strong enough to provide, and be gentle enough to be there for others. Be gentle enough to tend to the wounded, either in or out of the fight, whether it's emotional, spiritual, or physical. This is not a muscles equal good or bad idea film. No, it's to be a good person is to be prepared, whether that means physically, mentally, emotionally, for whatever reason, you need to be prepared. Whatever way you have to train, you need to be prepared. You have to be strong enough to be gentle in service of others. So this is all fantastic, right? That's great. Why did I talk about influencers in the beginning then? Because to be successful in the creative field, you have to know how to play the marketing game. You say one thing about your project, and it's going to be misconstrued to no end. The hotter your discussion, the more dangerous the online culture becomes around your product. The days of any press is good press have died with TikTok. One 10-second video talking about why what you said in your interview means you have to be boycotted, and the viewer of that 10-second video already made up their mind that they're not going to go see your product, not going to consume the product that you've created, because that person on TikTok, or YouTube Shorts, or Instagram, or pick your poison of the 1,000 social media things, just so happens to have the right number of followers, or subscribers, or whatever you want to call it. I truly believe that this one interview with Empire did more damage to this film than anything any other person could have said. And it's the director's fault. End of story. The fighting in this movie is fantastic. The visuals are fun. The emotional beats are strong. The humor is amazing, even if there are some innuendos. I'm not an innuendo guy. There's a lot in that movie. I kind of turned me off to it a little bit, but it was still funny. And the morals are wonderful. This is a dumb, fun film that deserves a lot of praise. But because big-time directors and big-time actors can't keep their inside thoughts inside, it flopped. This movie did not deserve what happened to it. It did every single thing right. It was a fun movie with a great message for the entire audience and good takeaways, with a nice story that, while maybe a little simple, was based on a product, a franchise from years and years and years ago, where the memes have since crescendoed and have fallen off after 2015, where its relativity to current cultural phenomena is nil and void. But because people can't keep their mouths shut, it failed. And it didn't deserve it. Masters of the Universe did not just die. It was... No, what do you mean I can't say that? I don't care if somebody else says that all the time on YouTube. It's true. No, it's true. Masters of the Universe didn't just die. It was
Thank you so much to channel members. In the oldies tier, we have Sinful Gaming, who has been a member for a year or more. In the modern times tier, we have Lord Taco, who has been a member for a year or more. And in the future tier, we have Apocalypse Super, who has been a member for a year or more. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. I truly appreciate your support, and it means the world to me, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.